Button. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Dr. Cloud Show, and it's good to have you joining with me right here on the air as we join in together and go have some fun for a little while, talking about life and dysfunction and unfunction and defunctionalizing everything as we do every day on this program. And we do that by listening to you when you call. So I'm going to start out. If you're new to the program, you might not have this number, but let me give it to you. 844-940-2774. 844-940-2774 is the number to get on the program, and we will chat. A little different time slot today. I've got a consulting project that I'm working on, and I've already kind of like supposed to be the end of the day, but I missed you guys. So it is 6 p.m. here in Southern California. So shout out to the bedtimers. We'll sing you a lullaby over on the East Coast or wherever you're listening from. I'm glad you joined us. Speaking of listening, you can't get this program on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, all live. And also, remember, I want to give a shout out to our podcast listeners. Because you guys sometimes, I know. See, you're like the people that go like pound the pavement and exercise and run and you're walking, you're listening to it while you're doing all that, because that's who you are. So glad you joined us on the podcast. You can download the podcast anytime, wherever you get your podcasts by just going to look up the boundaries.me podcast. And you can get it there. All right. Speaking of boundaries.me, that is the website to go to join our webinar coming up on November 15th called When Family Hurts, Breaking Destructive Patterns. Families hurt. And sometimes it's your immediate family, you and your spouse or kids. Sometimes you guys are doing all right. But if it weren't for those, parents always meddling or kind of like, kind of not letting you have your own freedom, even now that you got the next generation under your own roof, sometimes it's hard to break free even as adults. And they tell you how to parent or they tell you what you ought to think and this thing, and it gets all ugly. And sometimes it's in-laws and sometimes it's adult siblings and sometimes it's adult children. How about that one? There's a oxymoron for you. And you know what? There's just family patterns that don't help. And we're going to talk about that for 2 hours and the dynamics that need to be addressed to make things better. You got the holidays coming up. That means you will be seeing probably more family than normal. And some of you are wondering, how do you negotiate that and establish the right boundaries and all of that kind of stuff? Well, we're going to go into all that November 15th, 5 p.m. right here, Pacific time. And once you sign up for the live event, 2 hours live right here, you and me, then if you miss it, no biggie. It's on demand for you. After that, play it as many times as you want. Get a group together. Come watch it all together in your small group and discuss it. November 15th. When Family Hurts, Breaking Destructive Patterns. And how do you get it? You go to this website, boundaries.me/family to sign up. All righty. Let's get into our thought for the day. Oh, by the way, yesterday we had on our guest, Ryan Frederick, who was talking about the aging dilemma for if you have parents that are aging or you are aging or we're all aging, how do we prepare for that? And what are the options about living and all of that? He wrote a book called Right Place, Right Time, Right Place. And it was very, very helpful. Here's what I want to know. How do you like it when I have guests? We're going to play with the format a little bit. I've had a few guests. I haven't had many guests, but how do you like it? Who would you like to see? Or would you rather not have guests and it's just you and us? Do you like it when I give a lot of content and fewer callers? Do you like it when, just Henry, shut up. Let's talk to the callers. Tell me what you like. We really, really, really want to know that. So let us know in one of the places you can do it: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or info@drcloud.com. All righty. Here's our thought for the day. How am I going to make you happy if you don't tell me? How am I going to know how not to upset you if you don't tell me? Here's a basic kind of human truth. We judge each other and ourselves. Well, let's not lump those together. Let's just say this one. We judge ourselves by our intentions. Other people judge us by our behavior. I step on your toe. What are you saying? Ow, why'd you do that? You hurt me. I'm saying, well, gosh, I didn't mean to. And so a lot of times we have intentions, but we behave in a certain way, and we're not really intending to bother somebody, hurt somebody, not do something we're supposed to do, whatever. But we've never really talked about that, have we? Between us. Well, I thought you'd be here by now. Well, I didn't know that you wanted me here by now. So now I didn't know I was late. I didn't know the expectation. Or how could you do that to me? Well, do what? I was just telling a friend about, yeah, but that really violated my trust. Well, I didn't really know that was not something you wanted me to share. I mean, the examples are infinite. And I don't know what the number is, but it is a big number of conflicts that in reality, there's really no right person. There was no law broken. There was no crime committed. But somebody's expectation was violated. And to them, there was a big crime. You should have known. Well, okay, how? Now, there are some things that you should have known. Lying, cheating, stealing, assault, all those kinds of issues. Yeah, we should have known. God wrote them down. Read the book. It's not okay. Being judgmental and harsh and controlling and, all that kind of stuff. God and the Beverly Hillbillies both would agree. Yeah, that's a problem. You shouldn't have done that. But you know what? Most conflicts probably, well, I wouldn't say that, but a lot of conflicts in the day-to-day warp and woof of, people offend each other. And a lot of times it was unspoken expectations. So here's the deal. When we are bugged with somebody and we bring it up and we talk about it, that's a really good thing. But how are you going to hold somebody accountable to something if the expectation was never voiced? See, I can't just walk up to you and say, well, you should have been here at 4 o'clock. What are you talking about? See, if we haven't had a mutually agreed upon expectation, then it's really hard to hold somebody accountable for violating something that they didn't know we were depending on. Well, you should have known. And how many times have I heard couples say, I shouldn't have to tell him, or I shouldn't have to tell her. If he loved me, or if she loved me, she would ... I shouldn't have to. It's no good if I have to ask. Well, certainly it feels good when somebody's sitting around thinking about our needs all the time. But by and large, that's not what humans do. And that is what good people do in splices and on occasion and for various reasons. Look ahead and anticipate needs. All of that's part of a loving relationship. But there's only one relationship in life where you don't really have to let your expectations be known. And that's not even true. I was going to say, it's like, when do you kind of have the right for somebody to read your mind? Well, when you're an infant, but then that's not really true. If you're hungry, you cry. So you did let your need be made known. Now, what's the other side of this? Oh my gosh, we want to always be looking for, anticipating, thinking about, giving to each other's needs. Really, really important. I mean, I know if I'm going to be a good husband or a good father, then, or even a good dog owner. I mean, yeah, I'd be thinking of it, sitting around going, Finley probably needs a walk today. She's been cooped up in the house, and I'm going to, and anticipating that and making time for it, or whatever your spouse needs or your kids need or whatever. That's really, really important. But at the same time, we have to take responsibility for our desires and our needs and our wants, and we have to communicate them. So that's just a little thing to think about, is how many times we have unmet longings that if we put them into words, we might have a greater chance of getting them met. And when we don't, a better chance of not kind of like indicting someone for violating an expectation that we never made known. So I like the term mutually agreed upon expectations. Once we both agreed upon, yeah, I'll do that for you. Then if I don't, now we got something to talk about. The healthiest people are the ones that are active about expressing their wants and needs. They proactively talk about that in their relationships. And sometimes some of the most kind of sort of, it leads to a lot of depression and a lot of hurt. That is when we're passive and not speaking up. And sometimes you might have grown up in a situation where it was impossible to, and you didn't learn that skill. And that's horrible. But now it is time to begin, to be able to assert yourself. It's the old psychological word from the 60s or 70s. We started doing assertiveness training, which means to make your needs known, speak up. Don't let that happen if you don't want it to. Tell people what you want and all of that. Pretty good practice. Pretty good practice. One of the things that is cool about God, we really don't have to wonder what he's expecting of us, right? He kind of says the same stuff over and over and over and over. One of my favorite verses, Micah chapter 6, verse 8. This is my life verse, actually. It says this: "It has been shown to you, O man, what is good and what the Lord requires from you: to love mercy, to do justice, and to walk humbly with your God." Oh my gosh, how clear is that? Be nice, people, play fair, and remember, you're not in charge. Wow. Think of everybody you were in a relationship with was nice and loving and kind and merciful and gracious and giving and sacrificial. And they were just, they were fair. When they made a mistake, they confessed and said, "Oh, I'm sorry." When you make a mistake, they let you know in a just way and not an unjust way. They don't return evil for evil, but they address the conflict. And they stand up for justice with other people. And then they don't think they rule the earth, and they don't play God and judge you. And then they don't, act like you live in their narcissistic orbit and everything revolves around them and only their needs matter. because they're godlike and they know it all. Yeah, that's not what he said. He said, walk humbly with your God, which means if we're walking with God, we're not God and we're underneath him. And so we bow the knee to what he tells us to do. Pretty good deal. Yeah. Well, God lets his expectations be known. And when we do that, we do much better. So that's your thing for me, my little thought of the day to think about. And maybe you want to talk about that. Maybe you want to talk about that. Maybe you want to sit down with somebody significant in your life and say, how do you think we do on our expectations for each other? Are there some things that you're kind of expecting from me that I'm not delivering? Maybe I don't know about it. Maybe we never talked about it. Am I getting bugged at you sometimes? You think where you really don't know why, and I don't know what I did. And let's just talk about what are our expectations in various areas and get them clear. Wow, wouldn't that be cool? Okay, that's that. Here's our number, 844-940-2774 for the program. Okay, let's go to the phones and talk to Kim, who listens or watches or both on YouTube, and is calling about, looks like her son. Kim, welcome to the program.
Yes. Hi,
hey there.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. How are you doing at the end of it? What time zone are you in? Did I catch you late? No, you're in Arizona. You guys confuse the heck out of me because half of the year,
I know.
What is going on with that? Why come y'all don't switch time, daylight? Or do you, or you don't, or you're on it all? How does that work?
We don't switch at all. So no, half the time we're the same as you, and half the time we're an hour off.
So right now, it's what time is it there?
We're on the same time. It's just right around 6.
All right. So when we go off of daylight savings time, then we're an hour off of you.
Yeah, it would be 5 there and 6 here.
That's
or
weird.
6 there and 7 here.
All right. Well, I'll just have to live with that. You call me up, tell me what time it is. So tell me how I can help you.
Well, for the last year and a half, my divorce, I just divorced. I was married for 32 years, and I have 3 great kids. One is 2 girls, 29, 27, and then my son is 25. And last, like a year and a half ago in May, I told my kids that, I was going to divorce their dad. And
so it was your choice unilaterally?
Yeah. I tried for a really long time to, get things to turn around, and there just wasn't any change. And I just couldn't keep living the way I was. So it was a long time coming and a really, really hard decision to make. But I'm doing well. I'm healing. I'm growing. So. But I think the thing that's breaking my heart the most is that my son is not talking to me and hasn't talked to me since I told him.
Wow. The 25-year-old.
Right. My girls are talking to me, and they don't want to get in the middle of, I know my son talks to them, but my oldest daughter is the one that I talk to the most, and she, I don't know, I think one of the times I talked to her not too long ago, several months ago, I just said, she was coming to visit me, and they stopped to visit their dad and her brother at right before they came. And so I was asking questions about, like, well, how's he doing? What's he doing? And she just said that she had asked him what she could tell him, and about him, tell me about him. And he said, just don't talk about me at all. And so
Okay.
I know he's angry. I just, we had a fairly good relationship before. I mean, the girls always talk to me more. He's, as a teenage boy, my frustration was I never really felt like he would talk to me as much. And he
No,
had a
I'm
lot
confused.
of things in common.
Are you talking about your ex-husband or your son?
No, my son. My son would talk to
Okay,
me.
hold on. I'm sorry. I think I might have heard that wrong. The girls went to visit your son before coming to see you, or their dad?
My daughter, my son is living. I'm sorry, I didn't probably make that very clear. My son is living with his dad right now, and
Okay, so they went to visit all of them, and then
yeah.
the dad said, "Don't talk about me." Okay,
No,
is that right?
my son.
Your
My
son
son.
said, "Don't
When
talk
he
about me."
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
when
all right.
he just,
So what?
because he knew, my daughter knew that I was going to be asking questions about,
Sure, of course.
about him.
Okay, so what's your question?
My question is, do I know you can't make somebody talk to you if they don't want to.
Well, but you can make it easier or harder,
Yes.
right?
At the beginning, when he wasn't talking to me, I wrote him. I just kept in touch with him. I would text him every so often, tell him I loved him, tell him I'm thinking about him. I wrote him a long letter when I had done a lot of, soul searching and trying to figure out, like, why is he so upset with me?
Yeah. Can I get a quick answer? Can I get a quick answer to something? When you told him,
Yes.
did he like? Okay, so he wouldn't talk to me after that. One, he gets up, leaves the room, never says a word, or y'all were talking about it for a little bit unsatisfactorily to him, and over time, then he stopped talking to you, or how did he tell you, "Mom, I'm done with you"? How did he do that?
He never really has told me that he's done with me. He um, he was. I lived in San Diego at the time. I moved when I separated from my husband. I moved here to Arizona,
Yeah.
and he at the time was living up in. He was living up in Seattle at the time.
Okay,
And
so
then COVID
what
hit.
I want to know is how he told you. How did y'all
Right.
stop talking? How did that happen? Did he just
Yeah.
ghost
That's
you?
yeah.
Did he ever tell you, "Mom, I'm mad at you. I don't want to talk anymore"? What was said in that conversation?
Um, we would all Zoom together, his dad included. All five of us would talk
Yeah.
on Zoom since we were, once I left his dad. And everything was fine for like 3 months, and we would Zoom. And then
Its dad would
we
have
had
Zoom with
planned
you
on,
once you left him?
yeah, I just separated myself from him. I think the kids thought, well, maybe after separation, they'll get back together.
Okay,
But
so how
I
did
knew
your
that it
son
was,
tell you? How did your son tell you we're we're done? I'm done
um,
talking with you.
I was going to tell all the kids at the same time on a Zoom call with my husband, but I decided I'm just going to do it individually.
Okay, so you told him that, and how did he tell you,
I
"I'm not
told
going to
him
talk"?
over the phone. He didn't. He just has stopped talking to me.
Okay,
He stopped.
so that's what
I
I was
would
trying to
call and
find
call
out.
and
So you
call.
had a conversation.
Yes.
You talked to him. You told him you were doing
Hmm.
this, and ever since that phone call, he just stopped talking to you.
Right.
Never communicated. Hasn't communicated anything.
No, nothing.
Okay,
The only thing
that's
that
what I wanted to know.
that I've gotten from him is one text on my birthday. He said, "Happy birthday, Mom," but that was it.
Okay, and you've reached out and told it. So the question is what? Give me the question now.
Do I just continue? He has. Do I just continue to just let him be? Do I
What
continue to
is?
reach
Has
out?
he
Do
told you
I?
don't contact me, don't text me? Has he said any of that?
No, but I'm just. I feel such rejection from them every time I try to,
Yeah, certainly.
I mean,
That's
now that
very painful.
I reach out and now I don't even have expectations of, I
Right.
just know he's
Okay.
probably not going to respond.
Generally speaking, here's how I'd answer it. If he hasn't said don't contact me, what I would do is whatever you feel like is the right cadence. I would just say, thinking about you, hope you're well, kind of some things like that without any request. And then every now and then, I might write something a little more significant and say, I am so sorry that, the breakup of the family has been so painful for all of us, but for you especially. And I understand that. I really want to understand more about how I've hurt you and what this has been like. And just to let you know, I just really, really would like to understand better and to hear you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're ready to do that, I would love to do it. And if you don't feel like you want to do it with just me, then let's do it with a counselor or a trusted third party, and you can name that person. And so that's kind of what I would do. I would keep kind of dropping, I'm here. He texted you, he's hurt. Obviously, you wouldn't have said happy birthday, mom. You're in his head. And he's kind of doing this thing for whatever reason, but we don't know yet. And I think you've got to make kind of the stance of I'm here and I'm ready and willing, and I want to listen. I don't want to tell. I don't want to explain or persuade or anything. I really want to understand. That's the first step. Okay, that's the way I would do it.
Okay. My other question is,
might not have time for another one.
Town.
I got to go to some other callers, unless it's very, very
okay.
quick. Sorry.
It's real quick.
What is it?
His both grandparents live here, so my ex-mother-in-law and they live here, and sometimes he has been here on one occasion, and I didn't see him. He didn't come and see me.
Right.
And
he's
then
not talking
coming.
to you.
It could be for the holidays, and so the holidays are coming up, and my daughter's going to be here, and I'm just like, it's so hard knowing he would be in town, and so I just leave him alone, and just expect not to see him.
Well, I would expect not to see him because that's clearly what he has said that he wants to do. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know if he showed up, if he would crack and be vulnerable and fall into your arms, or if he would even enrage him so much and feel violated he extended the injury. I don't know him, but generally, what I would say is I might send him a note and say, Christmas is coming up, just to let you know, if you're coming out here to see your grandparents, I would love to see you. I'd love to, and kind of all this stuff. So you might want to give him a preemptive invite, but that'd be the way I would think about it. Okay. Thank you for your call. I'm going to gift you. You're welcome. I'm sorry you're going through this. It's so hard when, things affect people in different seasons in different ways. And I'm going to send you our Kim, I want you to let Albie get your info. I just did a 2-hour webinar called The Art of Confrontation. And you're not really confronting him with anything, but this is an issue that needs to be confronted, or you need for it to be confronted. And I think there's a lot in there about how you begin to enter into a difficult conversation with people that I think if and when it happens, that webinar will be very helpful to you. It's called The Art of Confrontation. All of you can find that, by the way, at boundaries.me/confront. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? Wow. There we go. Becky calling us from Massachusetts on YouTube. Welcome to the program, Becky.
Hey, wow. Let you know, my
Thank you for staying up
very
late.
Huge fans of yours.
What's that?
Yeah, I'm always up late.
Well, me too.
Yeah, I said my sisters are very huge fans of yours, and they'd be very jealous that I get to talk to you. So,
No,
but
well, now where do they live?
and we're in Massachusetts.
Oh, they're there too. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let's plug them in here. We'll surprise them. Let's just get a group chat going. Wouldn't that be
I don't
funny?
think so. That would be
let's tell them.
hilarious.
Say, hey, sis, I've been talking to Becky. She says you've got some issues, and she said you've had them for a long time, and she's finally going to let you know about it. That's what we're going to do. So
that would be awesome.
Well, when you're ready, you
so
tell me.
my
So tell me what your question is.
My question for you today is I've been doing a lot of thinking as of late, and it just seems that I've come to a pattern in my life where I just can never come up to I live a mediocre life. And no matter how, and not on purpose, I try extra hard.
Mediocre life.
And
now, wait a minute. Whoa.
Yeah.
Tell me what I don't know what a mediocre life is. Tell me what that means.
Okay, I don't live where I want to live. I live in an apartment that I don't like. I mean, I'm blessed to have a place to live, so don't get me wrong. But, it's not the best place to live. So I had a wonderful job. I, had actually, I'm a single mother, and I put myself through school and got a wonderful job at a doctor's office working as a nurse, and then got in a
and when
car
you say you're a
accident.
single mother, how many kids?
One. Yeah.
One, and how old?
He'll be 18 and
18.
next June.
And you raised him as a single mother. Were you divorced or never married, or how did that work?
No, his father died.
Oh, I'm so sorry. When was that?
After his first birthday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you have had a tough road to hoe. It's hard. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So then you became a nurse.
It's like even with that, okay, so yeah, and then and it was a great one, and then I get in a car accident, and it levels me out to the fact that I can't work. Tried to go back to work, couldn't do it, and so I was like, okay, here we go again. I tried to go back to school recently. I even I did great.
What kind of disability? What kind of disability do you have?
Well, I was hit by a car, and my left tib fib was shattered, my pelvis was shattered, and my hip was shattered. So I have lots of, and my back is all messed up, and so yeah, I've got lots of issues.
So that nursing
I am
makes
blessed to
the
walk,
mobility,
though.
but nursing would be too much where the pain. Okay, and so you went back to school.
I did go back to work,
and what did you want to study?
Okay, so that was most recently, but okay. So after I got into the car accident and everything, and I recovered, and I was luckily able to walk again, even though my foot was completely severed off at the accident. But God, thank you, I was able to walk. My son was in the accident with me. He got an airbag to the face, and he was actually blind for a little while, and now he sees, and he's a beautiful young man. But it's just. And, I'm not the type of person, I can't sit at home. I can't, just whatever. So I'm very creative. I've come up with all kinds of different ways to, and even with that, I've gotten up so far, doing, certain things. And it's like, oh, maybe I want to open my own business one day or do this or that, and it's like, I'll have really good successes there. And then I'll have great failures,
I don't know what that means. You said businesses, plural?
Yeah. Oh no, I have.
Okay.
I started my own business out of
one
my
business.
home.
What
so,
is it?
What is it? It's Imperfectly Purple. It's a CBD business, and I make CBD
Imperfectly.
products.
What's the name of it?
Imperfectly Purple.
Imperfectly Purple. Okay, CBD. And you sell this like out of a store?
I do sell in stores. I
Okay.
sell at craft fairs and different things like that. And I'll
Okay.
have really,
So
really,
really, really what?
oh, okay, I thought you were stopping me. So, I'll have like, say, a really great event and I'll have like, whoa, yeah, really did it. And then on the way home, the car will break down. And then all that money sunk into the car. It's like I can never get. And I was similar situations that'll happen. I mean, I was in the doctor's
Okay.
office just this week,
All right.
and
So a lot of
somebody hit
ups and
my car.
downs, and you feel like you can't get ahead. So tell me the question. What is the question?
When do you give up? When do you just say enough is enough? When is the
Enough of,
fight
I mean,
just gotta
give up
stop?
on what? Give up on what?
Give up on fighting so hard. I fight so hard for my business. I have poor health. I have, trying to
But
raise my
but
son, trying to,
tell me what that means. Are you talking about like when do you like what does give up
not like
mean?
end my life. Okay, I'm not talking about
Well,
like
you're
ending
not
my
going to
life
end
or
your
anything like
life, so
that.
you're still going to
No,
be
no, no, no,
alive.
no,
So
no.
what do you mean give up
Yeah.
what? What does that mean?
How do you, I guess my question is more, how do you accept that you're never going to get anywhere?
Why would you accept that?
Because it's been the reality of my life.
Okay.
Even like I said, more recently, I tried to go back to school to get another, to heighten my nursing degree. And I went through the whole first semester. Everything was great, got straight A's. I was kicking behind, and then I get a call and they tell me I can no longer go because there was a problem with my transcript from my original high school. And the licensing board won't accept it. And so it's like, no matter how much I try to improve my life or get further, I get pushed back down.
Okay.
And,
Becky,
and my
it
family
sounds
sees
like
it.
it sounds like there's been so many disappointments that the disappointments there's a verse in Proverbs and it says hope deferred makes the heart sick but a desire accomplished is sweet to the soul. But this hope deferred thing, and one of the things that I hear from you, and I would want you to go think about this. I want you to go sit down with somebody that you can process this with. But I think there's one huge thing going on here that is really, really, really real. And that is you have had some huge losses, like big losses. When you lose a husband and a father of a 1-year-old, and then you have to do that all by yourself, that's not a small setback. That's awful. I mean, life
I know that's
dealt
just the
you.
beginning, not to make that sound trivial, but
I
life dealt me a
understand, but
lot of
that
not good
is
stuff.
I know. And listen, you still, and rightly so, I think that there is a grief cycle that's not done yet. I think that you've had a lot of losses and disappointments that I don't know if it's ever been really, all of that grief has been processed to where it's you can actually leave it behind yet. It doesn't sound like to me that the grief and many griefs and many losses, and then a health, I mean, when your body integrity gets shattered, I mean, that's that's another loss. Now, what happens when losses kind of don't get worked through? I mean, I wish we could talk about this for a long time. Unfortunately, we got to go to some other callers, but when losses don't get worked through, okay, then they they continue to be felt, and they tend to. Hold on, I got to fix my screen here. They continue to be felt, and they continue to color ongoing life, when we're not resolved with some grief. And so what's going on here is that grief just has become the picture. Now that is very, very real. All right. And that's why I want you to go process that. And I want you to find a place to do that. Now, the second thing is this. Here's the other thing I want you to work on. Sometimes when we've had a lot of things like that, that becomes our interpretive style. And you've said, I want you to go back and listen to it. You've said several things during this call that are an interpretive style, that when something happens, that gets interpreted as meaning I will never make it. Nothing will ever go right. I'll never win. I got to just learn to accept a mediocre life. And I think that there is an interpretive style that a really good therapist could help you with. I'm going to give you, I've got a 2-hour.
I love that suggestion, but since COVID and in my neighborhood or my area, I'm literally on a 2-year waiting list for mental health care. So,
okay, but then I would
just letting you know.
I understand, but I want you to listen to me here, because this may sound a little hard, okay? But there are many, many options for teletherapy right now. There are groups. You could go to like free groups, support groups. There is somewhere that you can go and process this. Okay. And I'm going to be pretty direct here. Don't let obstacles mean I don't have a chance, because that's going to try to get in your psyche. And if it does, then that's what stuckness is about. And what I started all this with was, crap, you've had horrible things happen to you. And those have to be processed and healed. But I don't want that turning into the map of how the rest of your life has to go. And I think some of that is going to be processed. I've got a webinar on, I don't know the name of it, Albie, you could tell me, but it's about reaching goals. And there's a lot of stuff in there about how people that reach goals and people that don't, there is a different cognitive style in the way that we interpret events. And I'm going to give that to you. And I want you to go look at your thinking, okay, and match it to the kinds I've said. I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to accept mediocrity. And here's the other thing. You know what I hear? Because you're talking about not reaching the bar and all this. I hear somebody that's been extremely victorious in several dimensions. You have overcome horrible physical disabilities. You've gotten advanced degrees. You have raised a good young man all on your own while you're grieving his father. You have, it sounds like, good relationships with your sisters, probably some other good relationships. That, my friend, is not a mediocre life. But your head is telling you it is. I'm listening to kind of a hero here.
Thank you.
Well, don't laugh it off. I mean it. Anyway, I got to talk to some other people, but I am glad you called. And I want you to do two things. One of them is dealing with the bad, and the other is interpreting things differently going forward. Because I don't know anybody that's ever accomplished anything that didn't hit awful obstacles and kind of have to reinvent the wheel and start over. And other people say, well, it's not going to work, and they don't try. Okay, I got to run. Thank you for your call, and let me know what happens.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay. You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. I want to talk a little bit about that mindset. Because what she's experienced is very, very human. You might have heard me talk about this before. When things outside of our control happen to us that affect our well-being, then something shifts inside of a person. And this is very well documented. We know more about this almost than almost in any other construct in mental health. It's been researched so many times. Things happen outside of your control. A lot of times what happens is software shifts inside, and it goes into something called the 3 Ps, which are an interpretive style, is what the theoreticians call it, that your brain begins to have a style of interpreting events with the 3 Ps. Okay, what are they? Well, when something happens, it's interpreted personally. Excuse me, meaning that, you know, I didn't get this job, or they turned me down, or I didn't make the sale, or whatever it is. And that gets interpreted personally, like, well, I'm not good enough. I'll never make, I'm not able. I'm not a winner. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough, whatever. Second P, pervasive. It's not just that one thing. It's everything in my life. I mean, nothing's going on. My personal life, my professional life, everything, the economy's, and everything goes bad. It's not just this one event that my transcript got rejected. It's everything, and it all goes bad. And the third P is permanent. Well, it won't be any different. She said all 3 of those. See, she's not unique in this way, that every human has the propensity to be able to fall into that kind of thinking if enough crap happens to you. I mean, some people have gone through stuff that are outside of their control, that just how they even, continue to like get up in the morning is a miraculous, heroic victory. Because who wouldn't say, I give up, it's just too much with what's happened with some people in their lives. But here's what we know. That can be changed, because once people change that, then the transcript goes bad. They go, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll do this or that. Or I'm on a 2-year waiting list. Well, that's fine. If I've got other options, I can go to a support group. I can go find a mentor. There's 30 other things I can do. But see, when we interpret it, I'm not good enough, everything's bad, and it'll never change, then something else happens and we stop trying. So I don't want that to happen to Becky. Becky, if you're still listening, don't let that happen to you. Listen to that stuff on that webinar. And come on, you are a victorious person. You changed some of this thinking and process of grief. I think some really good things can happen. Really, really, really good things can happen. Okay, let's. Where are we here? Gosh, how's our time? You know what? When you're sort of like, I don't know, you heard me say this. Like, we started this program in lockdown. The pattern, I just do this by myself, my team, Albie, and everybody's, in different parts of the country. And I'm trying to look at the clock and see how much time do we have here, Albie. I need to know, to be able to know what calls we can talk about here. Okay, did I lose you? There we go. All right, I found it. Sorry, guys, for my rambling there. Let's see. Jessica, Instagram, Ohio. How are you? Welcome to the program.
Hi there. I'm all right. How are you, Dr. Cloud?
I'm well. Sorry about my getting lost, and I'm trying to figure out where the calls are. So you listen on Instagram, and you've been on hold for a while. So tell me what's happening and how can I help you?
Yeah, I am just trying to figure out how to get through tomorrow. And I know the Lord says take one day at a time. So I'm trying to do that. It's within the 24-hour window, so I think that counts. I'll try and be real quick here on the summary of what I'm talking about. I've been married for 6 years in August. This past August made 6 years. When my husband and I met, I had health issues already. I've dealt with them throughout life. But it seemed like maybe I was getting better at the time. And we got
How old
married,
are you?
and I will be 32 this month.
32.
So we got married,
And
6 years
can't
ago.
you don't have to say, just say I'd rather not say, but I'll ask you, can you tell me what the health issues are?
It's funny you ask because I just got some more diagnosis last night, and we've been searching my whole life for these answers. So that's part of what I'm going at here. I have just last night found out I have 3 different types of toxicity to mold toxicity, and I did my 3rd test showing this one came back 2 of 3 showing positive for Lyme disease, as well as I'm dealing with parasites, and there's a whole slew of things. So my body is let's see, a couple years ago I was down to 69 pounds. Right now I haven't been on a scale for a moment. It's better to just not get on it at times. So it's been a very hard hit.
Wow.
It's been a lot.
Did you
Did you
say 69 pounds?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So
and you're being monitored
very,
metabolically by a physician.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you got a lot of health issues
So,
going on. You're finally finding at least some answers that you might be able to start to have some sort of a plan for. So what's the question?
So when we got married, I had to quit working because of my health within about 6 months after being married. All of the hopes and dreams of having kids and buying a house and, everything we all want has just seemed to go down the toilet to this point. And my husband is very introvert. He doesn't go to people for help. He will stonewall, and he's very hard he's very about self, very self-centered. So all of this has been very hard, and I have much compassion for him, I can imagine. He left 6.5 months ago. I came home one morning and he had packed up and left.
Wow. And was that totally unexpected, or did he say anything, or?
He shut out. He's been gone emotionally for a long time, and he tried to walk out a few different times throughout the marriage, and old habits would come up, and I would catch things and we would address it. And he tried counseling for a bloop of time, and then he said he would never do that again. So it wasn't, I had no idea at this point. We were shopping for a house. It seemed all like we were okay, but he was working 2 full-time jobs to provide for my medical and to try and just get on top of things. And I knew that was a lot, but it was supposed to be short term. So he left, and he has been communicating. He has continued to pay for all of my needs. But he said he wanted 6 months to decide what he was going to do. And he would come.
And what did he give as the reason? What did he give as the reason for the separation? And what's he trying to decide about?
He's not happy. And this just isn't what he thought it would be. And we're both raised very faith-based. But he never kind of came around to being that spiritual head of the home. And he is currently, since leaving me, he's basically walked away from the Lord as well. So he's very unhappy, and this isn't what he wanted. And he told me this isn't what I signed up for. And I said, it actually literally is, when he said for better or for worse, and he signed the papers.
It is what he signed up for.
Yeah, but it's not what he wanted to sign up for. So we have open communication. The first couple months he would call me and just want to share his, everything going on, and it was very hard on me to do that because he didn't want me. He just wanted the benefits of me. And so I kind of had to put my foot down and set some boundaries. There's not stopping by for makeouts and this kind of stuff. If you're gone, that it wasn't healthy for me emotionally. And so.
Okay. So what is the question? I'm looking at our clock here.
Is, tomorrow is he contacted me Monday and he wants to meet, and so tomorrow is our meeting. And so there's a
Then
lot weighing on me
did he
here.
say anything about the agenda or what he wants to accomplish?
No, he wants to meet tomorrow. And from how things have gone, my assumption, which I try to be careful with those, especially when I'm trusting the Lord with things, but my assumption is that he'll probably show up with some legal documents, from how things have been going and his responses and lack of responses. So my question is, with my health and my stress levels, my health is not great right now. It's very poor. And to just handle the slightest bit of stress and anxiety can just about put me in bed. And I have to anticipate all day this meeting with him tomorrow evening and the life-changing impacts that could follow it. He doesn't
And
know
you said the
diagnosis.
slightest amount of stress you think can put you in bed?
Yeah, it can really do a number on me. And it has this week already. I have felt it. And just that anticipation throughout the day.
So what's the question?
So the question is, how do I healthfully get through tomorrow? I don't know. Do I handle this conversation with him? Do I just listen and then walk away with no words and process and come back to him later? Is this the time that I voice my things to him? Do I tell him the diagnosis that I've received? It's all these questions in my head. How do I handle this conversation that's causing so much anxiety and stress right now in me?
Let me ask you a question. Why do you even meet with him tomorrow?
I guess to find out what happens next.
Right. I mean, I understand that is a need, but I'm asking a question. I'm not saying don't meet with him. I'm just wondering, what you've told me is that this could be very, very destructive to your health to have this meeting tomorrow. Like maybe you need to have it at another time when you're figuring out kind of what you're doing.
We've drugged this on for 6.5 months, and that has been destructive to my health.
Okay,
because
it's up to you. Here's all I'm saying. Here's all I'm saying. I don't like it that if this is the case, I mean, he gets to unilaterally say we're meeting tomorrow, and that may or may not be good for you. You get to decide that. I just want you to ask the question to yourself: is it best for me to do this tomorrow, given what I just am dealing with, and it could blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
I definitely need this done because I'm living in limbo for way too long, and I can't handle it.
That's fine. Do you
longer.
feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable with you said he's going to serve, you think he's going to serve you, give you legal pay? What is he going to, what did that mean?
Yeah.
He's going to ask for a divorce?
Before, he did show up at one point with papers for me to fill out for a dissolution. So I don't know if he would try to come with that again, or because I think he just wants hands off, like out the door.
Do you have an attorney?
I have no attorney, no money for attorneys. I don't have any of that, but he has access to all of that for himself. I don't have it. I don't know how any of that works, and I have no access to it.
Okay. Do you have a very, very wise, smart, informed man or woman of the world who is a friend and would have answers to questions like that you could call?
Not really. I've brainstormed that. And not really. Growing up in such a church environment, I don't really even know a whole lot of people on a personal level who have gone through it much. There was one lady who did in the last couple of years, and I reached out to her, and she didn't want to be involved in it.
Okay, here's just what I'm trying to lay the groundwork for. If I would want you to have some kind of a some kind of legal advice, even if you had a friend or who was an attorney or a friend of a friend who kind of had those kind of connections. Say, look, I'm going to this meeting. I don't know if he's going to give me dissolution papers, this, that, the other. The last thing I would think that you would want to do, the last thing is to tip your hand in any way of what you want to do with it. I think what I was hoping is that if you had an attorney, you could say, if you have something legal for me, here's my attorney's address, and I want you to communicate, through him. I've seen too many situations where the guy has all the power, and I think you do need some people around you, if it goes that way to represent you well. Having said that, if you're going to go and there's nothing that in terms of prep, I would find my most supportive person who's ever walking through life with you, and I would make sure I got a little sandwich meeting. I would set up, I'm going to talk to them beforehand and kind of get, encouraged and supported and this, that, and the other, then have the meeting with them and then say, and then I'm going to come by and talk to you after to kind of process stuff. So I would make sure that you have a support sandwich that you have this meeting in. And then the next thing I would say is this, probably what I would be thinking is I am just going to listen and learn. I don't have to give any answers tomorrow night. I'm just going to go hear it and at the end, well, I've heard you. You know what? I'm going to go think about all this and I'll get back to you. I wouldn't sign anything. I wouldn't agree to anything. I would just, at least through the way it sounds, that might be the best option. Just listening.
As far as like voicing feelings or thoughts, or probably a good time to just bite my tongue too. Because I haven't really done that through all of this. I've tried to just give him his space because that's what he's wanted.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what you've got on the other side of the table. I don't know if anybody's listening to your feelings and thoughts, and I don't know if they care, and I don't know if they're just going to use them to make his next step be known. I don't know. My inclination would be, yes, you need to do that. I don't know if it has to be on the spur of the moment when you might not be ready or prepared. Certainly you can say all of it if you want to. I would just
because
probably,
the thing is here, my hope is eventual reconciliation, even if that's way down the road. My hope is a heart change for him. So I don't want to do something or say something now just to make myself feel better that could cause damage for down the road.
Right.
But I also don't want to feel like I kept in things that were unhealthy for me to keep in.
Right. Well, you shouldn't be keeping things in anyway. You should be processing that with somebody somewhere. So I don't want it inside of you. I want it out. But it's a strategic question to when we share something with somebody else, depending on what our goal is of where we'd like to get and who's on the other side of that table. It's very difficult for me to give you, this is the best, what I think is the best track without knowing. I don't know if he's going to show up repentant. I don't know if he's going to show up saying, I don't know what I want. I'm confused. I don't know if he's going to show up and say, gosh, I have really realized that I've not stepped up and done what I promised I would do in our vows. I don't know if he's going to step up and say, this is horrible. I can't live with it. We don't even know yet. So that's why it's hard to say. I just want you to have the freedom to, if you don't know what is good tomorrow night and you don't know how best to say it, reserve the right to say, wow, I've heard a lot here. I want to respond. I've got a lot to say. I just need to go think about it first. I just want you to have that tool in your toolbox.
Yeah. I appreciate that because honestly, you just said my exact words of what I have said for 2 months I would do. But as it's leading up to it, I start to feel like I want to say this and say this. So I think I just needed that confirmation.
You got it.
So thank you.
You got it. I'm so sorry. for all you've gone through with your health. And I'm sorry that your husband has left you in this when you most need him. That's very, very, very hard and very sad. I want you to notice on YouTube, I bet our army is gathering around you. And I will leave you with this one thought, and then I got to go. And the thought is this, that it scares me how isolated you sound. In growing up, you said, in this environment that seems kind of small and cut off a little bit from the world. And I'd want you to open up those walls that are around you in this community and find a bigger circle where there's some help and some support and a bunch of other good things out there. I think that God can bring to you. And I would want you to think about that.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Go check out the comments on YouTube. I bet you have people coming to support you there, as our army does. You guys are the greatest. You come alongside each other, you support each other, you share your stories and wisdom, and that's really, really cool. Well, I'd like to share more with more of you, but we are out of time. And hopefully, I hope, depending on how my project goes, hopefully I'll talk to you tomorrow. Don't know when, but we'll put it up if we can. If not, I'll see you as soon as I can. You guys are the best audience in the world because you're fighting dysfunction. You're going out there. You're just dealing with it, right? And this is the place where we are fighting the war against dysfunction, developing herd immunity against dysfunction, one dynamic at a time. And I love doing it with you. And I appreciate all of your comments and the ways that you let me know what we need to do better to help you and what you're liking and what's helpful and all that. Send us your comments. We want to hear them. And remember, we got a webinar coming up. Come on, guys, let's go do this together. It's going to be cool. If you have any family dysfunction, 2-hour webinar live right here with me called When Family Hurts, Breaking Destructive Patterns. It could be in your immediate family or your extended family, with your siblings or parents or adult children or cousins or grandma or grandpa or in-laws or whoever it is, breaking those patterns, breaking free from those destructive patterns. And by the way, the holidays are coming up, and that's some of these patterns go boom, and we get closer to them than sometimes in the rest of the year when you can go hide. Holidays are a good time to think about this, to quarantine your holidays to keep from getting infected. Okay, November 15th, 5 p.m. live right here. If you cannot be at the live event, sign up for the live event. Then you can stream it as many times as you want right after that. How do I sign up? Well, here's how. Go to boundaries.me/family. Boundaries.me/family. Okay, guys. Have a good night.